Hello, I'm Punchy. This definitely isn't the second take of this, because there definitely wasn't a thing that happened.
I don't think so.
This is Super Lesbian Animal RPG. I have just cycled several miles from work to get here on a rush. That is definitely not the reason we are having to do this over, because we kind of quickly skipped the last audio check. Anyway, we'll start the run again. 3, 2, 1, go. All right. Oh boy. Okay. So this is Super Lesbian Animal RPG. It is precisely what it sounds like, a turn-based RPG about lesbian animals, which are super. Takes place on the Sapphire Islands, named so for exactly the reason you're thinking. I am really just going to repeat the whole spiel.
That's all right. We didn't get that far in, so I can go for it again.
I'm going to repeat the whole spiel. Anyway, game starts here with our two protagonists, Melody and Allison, in the woods at night, as women are wont to do. And I have to immediately open the options to change the default walk speed to sprint. There is no compelling reason to walk in this game, but RPG Maker games insist on defaulting your movement speed to walk anyway. They all do it. I don't know why. I think it might be baked into the program. Would not surprise me. Okay, so we meet our friend in the woods. This is Claire. She is a witch. And we are out here doing dark rituals in the woods. But we would like to gain magical powers. I'm given to understand this is how most sleepovers work. I wouldn't know. Sadly, I am a dude. We are attacked by the first enemy of the game, the behemoth boar. We don't actually have any meaningful way to interact with this first fight. It's mainly meant to demonstrate that right now, Melody and Allison suck at fighting. That misses slightly faster than getting hit, though. Fortunate RNG. I actually didn't know that guy could miss. That's new. So we're just going to guard until Claire shows up and scares it off with a fireball. Claire can actually do magic. She has an MP bar, you see. That's how it works. So now, Claire's going to do the ritual, and we are going to gain magical powers. Because apparently the way magic works in the game setting is that it is a thing you can sort of like train in, but you can also sort of do dangerous ritual things to sort of jumpstart it. And that's what we're doing. We're deciding to shortcut to the good part. And now we're in Kingdom Hearts. This is Dive to the Heart. Like, unironically, we're about to pick our class specification. We're about to pick between, like, sword, shield, and magic. It's not quite that, though.
I see a Disney character here. I'm going to revolt.
So our three specifications here are, like, Woodland Paladin, Amorous Paladin, and Resolute Paladin, I think. So it's, like, hippie, gay, or confident. I went with gay. Realistically, it doesn't matter that much, but the gay skill is ever so slightly more useful in fringe scenarios. And with our magic power, Melody is going to start an adventuring guild with her friends. Melody is a pink trans fox girl, which is the only way I could think of to order those like adjectives in a way that made sense. Because fox pink trans girl sounds like it's not quite right, and trans fox pink girl doesn't sound anything close to correct. And now I can do magic and beat stuff up. So right now, Melody is kind of limited to just hitting stuff with her fists. One shot, that's nice. Melody is not much of an attacker. She is spec'd into healing. She will be the healer for the video game. And consequently, her attacking options right now basically boil down to hit stuff with fist. We're also going to invade enemy encounters. They're all visible on the overlord. This game doesn't have random encounters per se. But you will very often be forced to fight enemies as they block your path. So our goal right now is to find Allison, our girlfriend. This is Jody. She will be the fourth party member later, but not right now. She is too busy chilling and being generally the only person with her head screwed on straight in the plot. In this run, we only take one optional encounter in the whole game, so generally speaking, evading enemies is like the name of the game with this one. Enemies do like look around and pursue you. This enemy is fixed, this is in the way, you have to fight the hoop snake. This will take either 3 or 2 turns depending on whether or not Melody crits.
Darn, since we had Behemoth Boar and Humble Hermit, I was wondering if we were going to get all alliterative enemies, but Hoop Snake throws me off that track, so...
Okay, it's a quirky indie RPG, and this is just about the quirkiest of them all, but they don't quite follow a pattern like that. Where are you moving? There we go, moved out the way. There's Allison, we have reunited. Melody demonstrates her healing magic. 5 MP a pop, wow. And now they are attacked by the first boss, sort of, Bullhound. So Allison has access to unique abilities where she can attack directionally. She builds Star Power Meter, which is the star above her head, by attacking enemies. Every character builds Star Power in a different way. The Bullhound goes into the hole, and now it's vulnerable to low kick. Low is like a specific element. It's like down element. Bullhound pops back up. And now it's vulnerable to high kick. And that takes care of that. When it's in the hole, usually it's invulnerable to everything except the low element, so this fight exists to teach you that Allison can do, like, directional moves by spending her Star Power Meter. But, like, specific elements, she's got, like, left jab or whatever. How about a kiss? They have kissed. Fantastic.
I love that cutscene.
Gay thus achieved, we move on. Get out of the way. There we go. Alright, next port of call is to head back to town. And I'm going to live out a personal fantasy. This is Paula, Allison's annoying co-worker. We're going to pointedly not talk to her, as we do not have to. Simply don't talk to your annoying co-workers. It's fantastic. This game has it all.
Video games are escapism. When you can't avoid coworkers in real life, come to video games and avoid them in virtual settings.
We get a free heal off this little cutscene here where they eat cake in a diner, ran by their friend. They chat about their feelings and uncertainties about doing an adventuring guild. Melody suffers with anxiety problems. It's a plot thing. I am forced to summarize this briefly. And now we're going to seek Claire, who is apparently doing something in Allison's basement. And here we find Claire has remodeled Allison's basement into a practice dungeon. This is Claire's idea of fun.
A dungeon.
Claire dooms the planet.
Always.
For this is the inciting incident. Claire joined your party as the third wheel. This box contains 2 ethers down here. So we're going to grab that. We're paying attention to the items we get from these early fights because we would like extra ethers if at all possible. Alright, and this first fight actually has a highly specific order. We're going to kiss our girlfriend, because Melody kissing Allison gives Allison a stat bonus, which makes her do more damage, so I can kill these enemies in 2 hits. If Claire doesn't kill the enemy with Scorch, it actually becomes a secondary, more dangerous enemy that is a dust bunny but on fire, and that will happen because Allison missed. It's on fire!
Oh, terrifying.
That makes it do significantly more damage, which is bad. Good. Useful crit straight off the fact. It also gives less experience when they're on fire, so that can throw a spanner in the works of the early experience routing. Only 1 is fine, though. I can deal with that. This is a dust bunny wearing one of Allison's grindcore t-shirts. It is actually resistant to fire while it is wearing that. So simply beating it up will do the trick. Key number 1. We are seeking 2 keys to complete the practice dungeon here. Need 2 keys.
I already love the writing in this game so much.
There's the second key. Now we're going to fight Big Dust Bunny. Kiss Allison, attack, and Scorch is the order for this, because it is vulnerable to fire. But we also want to build meter with Allison by attacking because it's also vulnerable to high kick because the boss, you know, its head is visible. That's kind of getting beat up there. Not a fan of that. I'm going to heal. Alright, now that the box is off, they are vulnerable to low element and also fire, inflicting burn, which is handy. Burn will do damage over time, but damage over time effects in this game cannot kill. They can only, it's one of those, it will like tap out at 1. Yo, Melody crit. Does that help? Not really. But it's funny. Okay, first boss down. Everyone should level up off this. Yep, ooh, dropped an Iron Gauntlet. That is not guaranteed, but that will make Melody's punches slightly better. And the reward for beating the dungeon is a nice sword that Claire got as a gift. She's really a thoughtful friend in her own kind of way. But we can't get back out. Claire finds this alarming. I'm going to give Allison her sword. Now she will do all the damage. Allison is going to do all of the damage for pretty much the entire run. That's just sort of her role in the party. She hits stuff. It dies. Meanwhile, we are progressing deeper into a weird part of the cave system we have now found ourselves in. But before we can move on, we are forced to look at Allison's baby photos. If you try and leave without doing this, Melody will remark, "Oh, I must have spaced out. I was going to check out that treasure chest." And Allison says, and Allison interjects, "Let's not actually, but no, you have to. You have to do it. It is required." Anyway, reality is now collapsing, as one does. We are in the basement dungeon now, question mark. So we must collect 4 keys to open the center. So the first port of call is going to be the top right, because it contains a skill we will need to make progress. Alright, first fight here. Oh. Kiss Allison and Scorch the Tear in Spacetime. The Tear in Spacetime is actually quite dangerous at this point because if it corrupts a party member, corruption is basically confusion. That dodge is quite bad. That's rather scary. Let's see how this plays out. Okay, the counter dodge. It worked out. Kind of. Cage bunnies are weak to high kick. There we go. Right. The Terror in Space-Time is kind of scary because if it corrupts a party member, it can actually, like, really car crash the run this early. Because we don't actually have the spell that cures corruption at the moment. Now we do. It's Purify. Corruption is essentially this game's version of Confusion, but it also gates, like, certain areas, so we need it to get places. And this is the only optional encounter we're going to take in the entire run. This dude. There is an egg. It's a 3 enemy fight, but it gives enough experience that the experience routing works out. Also, this egg has a chance of dropping, well, an egg.
Well, that adds up.
Why don't I just have Claire do? Punch. Less than ideal. It worked out. So that gives us some experience. We need that for experience routing. We would like Claire to hit level 4 before the boss fight, because then she learns Frost, which is the boss's weakness. That is the only time where, like, advanced level grinding is worth it. And it's 1 fight, so not much of a grind. I hit the Windows key! I hit the Windows key! Less of this.
Key that ruins many a speedrun. Or...
This attack, Scorch Egg. Always Scorch Egg. So this mobile whorehound is going to retract into its pants after 1 hit. That is a sentence I get to say out loud. At which point it becomes vulnerable to low element. Allison low kicks it, it dies. Claire should be level 4 after the next fight. Should be. Another Tear in Space-Time. This one's a bit less scary because now I've got the spell that can cure corruption if it actually happens to stick it. It's not very likely that it does. No, it's gonna die. Scorch doesn't miss. And Claire has no mana. She has run out completely. Low kick. Oh wow, that didn't kill. Damage range. He's thinking about his pants, though. Good for him. Right. Yep. Claire levels up, and I got a spare ether. Very nice. Claire eat 2 ethers, or she needs the mana. She is very mana hungry. Claire is very high maintenance in this speedrun. She is the bane of my existence. Fun fact, in this game, Claire will never ever wear, like, defensive headgear because she likes her hat too much. Like, that's the stated reason for why she can't put a helmet on. So, she will have poor defense for pretty much the entire run.
Classic mage behavior.
Literally, she draws power from her aesthetic. Okay, now we're gonna go straight to the boss. Not gonna heal, just gonna go playing the game. Claire has mana, that's all I care about. Poor Guardian. This fight is relatively straightforward. We're just gonna have Allison attack and do high kick when she has meter. Meanwhile, Claire will cast Frost, and I'm gonna hope it procs freeze, because then it will skip the enemy's turn. Or it could crit, that's fine too. I'm okay with that. Not right jab, high kick. There we go. That's bad. That's corruption. Fortunately, we have the spell that can cure that, but that might waylay me by some turns. Because when a party member comes out of corruption, they just kind of do their basic attack, and Claire's is bad. She can't hit anything. The girl has absolutely no protein. Can't hit anything with physical moves. And then it goes shield form. If this goes well and corruption doesn't happen like that, normally you don't ever actually even see shield form. But it died on the next tier, that's fine. That is a-okay. Everyone levels up. This is the kind of game where on level up everyone restores their health, but they do not crucially restore their MP. That matters. Take notes. There will be a test on this later.
Yeah, that's a bummer. I wonder why ethers are so important then.
Yep. Especially for plot reasons as well, it will come up. This is Jarvis, a name I don't know how to pronounce. A sentient VHS tape. He wants to scramble the world for reasons that are currently unclear. And then the dungeon is gone. Claire is bothered by this. The other two don't really care. They just kinda want to go home. And so we shall. We shall leave the way we came. And thus concludes the first dungeon of the game. Okay, that sets me up fine for Act 2. The condition at which you end Act 1 is relevant, so I'm considering the options. I've got a spare ether. I would prefer to have more than that, but 1 will do. Would you like to save my progress? No! I already have backup saves. We briefly take control of Allison here for just sort of a conversation moment, where the two of them, talk about how they think this whole adventuring thing is going. And I'm picking Melody's choices, and I'm basically just mashing through, but I'm also... By mashing through, it's all the confident options. Melody will be confident in this playthrough. He will solve all the problems in record speed.
Oh, wish we could pull that out for real life. Really do.
Just speedrun all of your problems. And anxiety.
Just be
working for me
confident.
so far.
Yeah.
Act 2. There are 5 acts of entirely varying length, so they don't really mean very much as like a marker of progress. Claire has knocked on our door and told us to go to the library, or rather that's Allison's house. Claire uses the library as the guild's headquarters, and the librarian consequently hates her. Anyway, Claire's been drawing a paranoid conspiracy board of all of the things that have been happening. Consequently, she didn't sleep last night. As a result of this, she did not restore mana between the chapter transitions. This is a relevant problem for the speedrun. Because however much mana Claire has at the end of the core Guardian fight is exactly as much as she will have when you start the next bit. You can lose time by going resting, but that's not speed. Now is it? That's why ether drops are important. I talk to Holly real quick. She's a paladin. I'm gonna steal a slightly used staff off her. It will power up Claire's magic. I think the game wants you to use it on Melody. She's the one who's holding it in all of the artwork, but no, Claire gets it. It increases magic, and I want to kill things very quickly, so that's where it's going. Now I'm meeting with Faith real quick, the guardian of the town. She is, appointed to protect the town against, monsters and what have you. It's a local election kind of joint. Also Jody's girlfriend. We haven't, got Jody in the party yet, but it's relevant. In fact, of the 4 party members, Claire is the only one who does not have a girlfriend at the moment, because it is part of an optional side quest that I will not do. Claire will remain unloved.
It just means everyone out there has to buy this game, play it, make sure Claire gets love.
Completing it gives you the ability to kiss your girlfriend in combat, which wouldn't be very good anyway, so we don't need it. Alright. Now I'm off out. We're going to buy spell books. 1 Inner Beast, 1 Spellblade. Spell books are suites of skills that can be attached to any character. Auto Allison, Auto Melody, unequip the staff, Auto Claire. That's a menu. So I've equipped Allison with Inner Beast, it gives her stronger physical attacks, and I've got Spellblade on Melody, which can enable you to imbue a character's physical attacks with elemental properties. Which is handy, because Allison's going to be doing pretty much all of the damage. Yes, Allison, attack, thrust. These are frog balls. They get bigger when they take damage, and then they do more damage in turn. Like so. Them attacking Melody is fine. So, a note on character statistics here. Melody is the team healer, sure, and the plot kind of tries to, play her off as being sort of, emotionally sensitive and vulnerable. She's a tank, though. She has lots of health. Generally speaking, enemies hitting Melody is a good thing. She can take it. Because Claire absolutely cannot, and Allison only kinda can.
Paladins, they're tanky.
We are now going to touch orb. The problem that this solves is I haven't actually encountered it yet. We're trying to learn how to melt giant ice cubes. And you may be wondering why Claire, the person who can literally throw fireballs, doesn't just do that. If you try, she'll be like, I don't want to set fire to the surroundings. That is the game's stated reason for doing that. Anyway, we got some sweet Sun God merchandise. That lets us melt giant ice cubes. Even the holy spots are tourist attractions these days. These guys are frozen in ice. This is why Claire won't do it with a fireball, because she thinks she'll hurt them. These 2 are bards. We're never going to see them again. You can forget about them. And now we climb the mountain. We are currently in search of our missing friend, Jody. Hiss, Pomp, Rust. Currently, we're searching for the missing 4th party member. She's gone missing. Chomp also inflicts poison, which is of limited use. Yeah, see, the poison will not kill. If it did, that would be super, but it doesn't quite work like that. And now, money routing becomes a thing, because the amount of gold you get from enemies is ever so slightly random. So I'm picking up that chest of 400 gold to make absolutely sure I hit the threshold. There are, ways around it, even if you don't pick it up. What is this guy doing? Anyway. This door leads to the astral plane. It is a fast travel marker. This needs to be tagged for it to become available. If you don't touch it now, you will live to regret that decision later. As you will, in fact, be forced to make the trip several times over if you don't. So we come in here, tag it to open it, and then we leave straight away. We will be fine. But that is enabled for future use. Okay, so Trash King is a boss. Our first port of call here is to get rid of the bags because they will heal the boss. Allison will do that by chomping on garbage. 444 damage. You love to see it. Claire's Scorch will not quite kill it. Yeah, see, normally it heals and that gets in the way. And Scorch. So now that we've gotten rid of both of the bags, or Melody's about to get rid of the last one using Gust, it is now basically just a damage race. The boss is uniquely vulnerable to left jab for whatever reason. Like, left element is the thing that it's weak to. Claire's looking a bit dead. I would prefer her to be slightly less dead. Fortunately, healing moves in this game have, like, high priority. There is, like, a speed system in that, you know, character moves come out first, but certain moves also just have, like, inherently higher priority than others. So heals tend to come out first, but not always. That was actually quite good. The trash bags didn't even respawn in. They didn't have time. It's gone. We move on. Mega Potion. That's for safety. And we find Jody's wallet. Oh dear. She's lost her wallet. Tear of Revival. That's for safety. Tear of Revival is an item that revives a party member with full health. Otherwise, the only character who can revive another party member with a skill is Melody. If Melody dies, you're just kinda screwed, so that's for safety. It's not very likely to occur because Melody is extremely built, but it can indeed occur. Now we're on a floating desert. It's just kind of here. This dude always gives me... No, he turned around. The facing direction of enemies as you try to avoid them on the world map is actually, like, relevant. They will pursue you if they see you, but what constitutes seeing you is a bit loose. This dude, on the other hand, just moves in a predictable pattern. That Mega Ether will come in handy later, for Claire is still extremely mana hungry. Weird cowboy bat dude who we're going to very pointedly not talk to. Okay, now we're actually going to use Flame Blade. The enemies in this fight are weak to fire, so imbuing Allison's attacks with the power of fire. Advantageous. There's also no need to heal in this fight because, well, if I've done my math right, everyone should level up off this fight. On the other hand, that's still... I would like her to not die in the fight. That will cause other problems. Okay, she did level up, though. Now... Claire eats a Mega Ether. I'm going to pick up this treasure chest. This contains the Magical Girl spellbook, which contains full party healing, which is very, very useful. Melody builds her star power meter by healing, or kissing Allison, which is the thing I've mostly done so far for that. You're in the way of the one tile I'd like to be in, bro. Do not want this fight, leave me alone. Fortunately, fleeing from encounters in this game is not random. It has a 100% success rate. I'm gonna have to muscle this dude out of the way, because he once again are standing in the only tile I would like to currently be occupying. Fortunately, you can kind of like push enemies backwards, but they only go back like 2 tiles at a time. So if you're trying to squeeze through like a very particularly narrow hallway, it gets kind of obnoxious. This is a likely outcome of this segment because all the passageways are very narrow and sad. Right. Hiss, attack, thrust, aimed at the robots. The robots can do mana drain, which is less than ideal. Or Allison could just crit. Okay, you can drain Melody, that's fine. He has mana to spare. It's mainly Claire and Allison I don't want drained. Allison's actually going to get, like, mileage out of her meter. That miss sucks.
RPGs. Gotta love that.
Extremely. Extremely. No, why are you draining Allison? It'll be okay, she still has enough. Dive Bomb, Scorch. Dive Bomb is Allison's 2-tiered star power special move. It does lots of damage. It is single hitting. That was kind of messy, but that happens. Before this fight, equip Melody with Magical Girl, because we are going to probably need to do all target healing during this fight. As a trade-off for the main party leader being a healer, enemies in this game hit pretty hard. You gotta stay on top of that kind of thing. Abominable automaton. Chomp Frost. It's another robot, so it's vulnerable to frost, but not vulnerable to poison. So Chomp is mostly just for damage. Claire gets bopped straight in the nose. More Chomp. It's vulnerable to high kick, so we're going to start doing high kicks and then have Claire attack boost Allison. She learned that skill at level 5. Since Allison is the primary damage dealer, attack boost comes in handy from time to time. Grabs a boulder. We need to get rid of that boulder ASAP, because otherwise it will instantly nuke a party member. Fortunately, Claire can set boulders on fire. And there it goes. Gust is not quite strong enough to do it. It's like 10 damage short or something. It's kind of funny. There's a nice little target heal. This dude has an attack where he can hit every party member at once for like 200 damage, and it's just kind of not happening, so that's nice. Yep, pretty good.
Oh. A little fortuitousness there.
RPGs. They're like that. And here's Jody. She's fine. She's just like playing in the sand. We get a free heal after that fight, fortunately, so now mana management is no longer really a relevant problem. And Jody also factory rebooted the robot. Its name is Glyph. She has joined the party as the 4th wheel. I like how Claire is the 3rd wheel and Jody is the 4th wheel.
Need 4 wheels for a good car.
Exactly. Because Jody is the only party member with everything generally together. Jody's star power meter is unique. I will get this out of the way now. She builds meter by being hit. So enemies attacking Jody is generally good because her star power skills are quite good in the late game. And also, she is the party's tank, although right now she's not really a very capable tank because she joins the party at level 1. We are not going to grind her up. That's just going to happen on its own as we go through the game. Into the desert town. It's full of undead elves who like to roleplay as cowboys. They can't actually die, though, because they're undead. As it happens. They're going to help us get into the second layer of the sentient VHS tape dude, and we're going to blow that up. That's the general game plan right now. But first, equipment buying. This is the only bit where you do this. 2 of these, 1 cowgirl hat, 4 right back at your charms, and 2 Chronomancer books. So a bunch of that was just equipment to make Allison and Jody do more damage as physical attackers, because while Jody is the designated tank, she is also pretty capable as an off-attacker. Not as much as Allison. Since this is like a story segment, I'm just going to explain the build while this plays out. This is Allison's mum. They're going to have a chat. And the 2 spellbooks we bought 2 Chronomancy spellbooks. Chronomancy is the best spellbook in the game. It gives you access to the move Speed Up, which when applied to a party member means they will take 2 moves with their basic attack instead of the usual 1. But it only applies to basic attack, so the general game plan at this point in the run is to do Speed Up on Allison and Jody, and they stab everything to death. It doesn't work on magic spells, unfortunately, otherwise we would have Claire start nuking everything, but you cannot do that. Not yet, anyway. There are ways around that, but we do not have access to them at the moment. And otherwise, we also bought 4 right back at your charms. The charm is a special equipment slot. They don't really infer stat bonuses, they just have an effect. But the effect that we've landed on for the run is the counter charm. It has a 25% chance of reflecting anything that is considered a physical move. This is good both for just damage mitigation, because it's a 25% chance you just don't get hit sometimes, and it stacks with dodge, so like, you can still dodge an attack if counter doesn't proc. Quick Chronomancer to Jody, auto-equip Allison, auto-equip Jody, auto-equip Melody, and put the second Chronomancer to Melody. That's the menu for that. I had to stop talking real fast while I walked through that.
It's not an RPG unless you have to talk through your menu. I'm the same way in any RPG I've ever ran. I have to talk through it because I can't really look at it while I'm doing it. I just have to like trust I'm doing it right. But yes, the counter charm is good for both damage mitigation because it's a chance you just don't get hit, and also Allison's counters really hurt, so sometimes you can just steal turns if you're lucky. And you will get lucky at some point. It's a 25% chance. It's pretty likely. Although Claire's counters are really sad at this stage of the game because her physical attacks basically don't do any damage. But still, not getting hit is preferable, so it still works out to just kind of give everyone them. Beat up Allison, attack, Frost, attack. This is Color Wheel. Color Wheel's attack is it changes the palette of the characters. There is a random chance of a Homestuck reference in this run, thus immediately killing it, with the sheer power of Homestuck. I did not get RNG Homestuck. This run is golden. Jody levels, it doesn't actually do anything if you get it. Gonna use this key to access this back room. It occurs to me I forgot to actually give it the counter charm. Put that on real fast. Okay, our first goal here is to turn on the sand switches so we can adjust the sand level. But first, we must help Melody and friends find the treasure. This encounter is one of the only encounters in the game that doesn't actually present a consistent layout. What enemy encounter am I going to get here? 3 dudes. Absolutely not. Reset. Fortunately, I can keep re-rolling the encounter until I get something that's less awful. 2 dudes. I will work with that. We will work with this. I can work under these conditions. But a 3-dude pile-up is absolutely out of the question. That would take way too long. Even though 2 tears in reality is actually kind of scary. Because they can corrupt the party. Rust. Yeah, that'll do. Fortunately, one of them chose to hit Melody, which is ideal. Melody is actually immune to corruption. I guess because they just thought it would be kind of mean if the only party member who could cure it could also be afflicted by it. Oh, they dropped a Mega Ether. Will I actually get use out of that? Probably not. But, ooh, shiny. Okay, we have now enabled the sand switches and can now clear the dungeon. We did it. Great job. Great job. That room on the left there is totally optional. We're never going to open it. It contains a nice sword, but we will get a nicer sword in due time. Alright, this seems like a detour at first, but it will give us a tool that will help us later. There is a chest on this side of the room. It contains a star fruit. It is an item that fills the characters. It's used on star power to the maximum. That will not get used for like an hour and a half. But when it gets used,
It'll get a lot of use. Since it essentially gives the party, like, instant access to all of their most damaging abilities. And conveniently, it's right next to this key. Get out of here. These narrow hallways and these dodges. Okay. Halfway point of the dungeon. I could buy potions if I wanted to. I'm going to go with no. I don't think I need to. Things are going okay. It has become a Game Boy game.
Ooh. Love me some handheld representation here.
Oh, original Game Boy now. Now the Lesbians are super. They're huge. Now they're default. And now I have a key. As if they made, like, just entirely unique Overlord sprites, like, for 2 gag rooms, by the way. I know RPG Maker sprites only have, like, what, like 3 frames of animation, but still.
That's beautiful. I appreciate it. That reference felt good for me.
We're heading into the back of the Neon Labyrinth. There is one chest full of money I would like here. We're going to make large purchases in the back third. Where is this dude going? Get out of here. Right, we're going to proceed to the mini-boss of this area, which is the Singularity, which we are going to have Allison and Jody beat to death with their ruby spears. You can technically get them as a random drop, but buying them is, like, way more consistent, so that's the approach we take. Beat up both Jody and Allison. Fortunately, having Melody and Claire do the Chronomancy is very handy, because they both have very large mana pools to work with. Jody has 50 mana. She is not cut out for that. But we're going to make her do it anyway as the run, like, grows on. That's crit. Have Melody kiss Allison, because then it will increase the damage of her double attack to do even more damage. This should end it this turn, if there's no unfortunate misses. Yep, pretty good. Jody levels up off of this, so I don't have to worry about healing her. She gets 2 levels off it, actually. Or she joined at level 1, but that proves to be not much of an issue, because she already has, like, good base HP to start with. So she isn't really at risk of dying here when she first joins. Okay, now we have the ID badges we need to get into the employee meeting happening in the dungeon. And this is one of the few cutscene skips, like, actually implemented cutscene skips in the game. But the way it works is very strange. You have to sort of, like, intentionally back up the global save file with the cutscene skips enabled in order for it to fire off. The way it works is that if you start the fight and then die during it, it gives you the option to just skip straight to the boss. But if you keep the flags, like, saved properly, then you can just do it that way. So doing that, we skip the whole cutscene where the monsters have a meeting and they announce that actually Claire is the reason they're all here, because she messed with space-time and they found a way to, like, go through it. Claire ruins everything. Good for her.
Good for her.
I've done this in the wrong order. Did I just do? Yes. Do this. I'm having a hell of a time doing this menu. And help. There we go. There we go. Think it through, and then do it. And now we're fighting a giant gumball machine. It pops out more gumballs as the fight goes on that inflict status ailments. We're mostly just going to ignore them and burst the boss down as fast as we possibly can. All things going well, it should end this turn. Dished out a sick burn. Got it. Yep, that's a standard 3-turn. Jody gains 4 levels off that fight. So now she is pretty much up to speed with the rest of the party, roughly speaking. Melody breaks through the corruption, but at the expense of literally all of her mana. So right now, Melody has 0 mana, so you kind of can't really fight anything if you wanted to do any healing. And then we destroy the dungeon. You cannot come back here. The game prompts you to, like, are you sure you want to do this? Like, you really can't come back here. So if you miss stuff, you miss stuff. Right, now we gotta go home, because during that, like, meeting with all the enemies, they announced they're gonna destroy the town that we're from. Our home. So we're gonna go back and stop them with Speed Up. I find it very fitting that Speed Up is, like, the ideal move in a speedrun. To the point where you, like, stack it as much as you can get away with.
Feels fitting. Feels very fitting.
Have 2 people doing it. The teleporter back home is broken. Oops. That's okay, for there is a tech whiz undead elf person who can help us. They dress like a cool hacker. They give us the Machinist spellbook. That can convert scrap metal into damage. We don't really get a lot of scrap metal in this run. It's a random drop from robots. There is the potential that you could have enough to do it at a relevant timing. It's really luck-based, though, so I'm going to go ahead on the assumption I didn't drop enough. I wasn't really paying attention. Going to operate using the strats that don't involve that. Very niche strategies. Maybe. I'm dubious on whether or not it's even faster. So the gang must split up and turn a bunch of switches in an area that apparently has a bunch of mana in the air. Shadow robots. Oh, 2 of them. So the game plan here is to just guard our way through these fights, because they end after 1 turn cycle. Melody countered the shadow. And like, this is sort of like a moment where, you know, it's happening in the protagonist's mind. They're sort of having a moment, but Melody can counter her hallucinations. And you can win fights off it, too.
Wow. So powerful. Countering hallucinations.
If you counter your own, like, anxiety and, like, win the fight off it, they will give you gold. Ooh, all 3. Yep, there's the counter, 106. Very nice. Okay, now we've hit the point where the rooms just start looping, and the fastest play is just to repeatedly go back and forth in and out of, like, the same room. Melody is currently experiencing mana poisoning. That's a thing in this universe, you see. The magic is all in the air, but too much magic, bad for you. You start to die. There are 2 of us now. I am not Melody. I am evil Melody. Her name is Harmony. This game was written at the same time as Celeste, but it is very funny that this is the kind of thing that both games have. If I had a nickel for every time I've played a game written by a trans developer where there's like an evil goth version of the protagonist, I'd have 2 nickels, which isn't a lot. It's weird that it's happened twice.
Both seemingly excellent games, too. I mean, I haven't played this one. I've played Celeste, which is excellent, but this one seems good. This is definitely more on the silly side than the awful side, just for the record.
Yeah, no, I really like this game.
Yes.
In case that was not clear, we're on awfully silly here, but I do obviously very much like this game. Like, very hard to commit to running like a 2-hour RPG if you're not like into it. I don't do that irony poisoning stuff.
No, definitely not. We like to have some silly games on here, but I don't think any of the 3 games we had on tonight were particularly awful. Well, maybe Lassie, but but they were all definitely silly. So.
Anyway, we're back on the beach. We've teleported back to the outskirts of Greenridge. We can buy tropical shirts from that guy and engage in summer antics, but we're not going to do that. I don't have enough money. I can't afford Hawaiian t-shirts. Sadly, a Hawaiian t-shirt is one of the few forms of armor that Claire will actually wear, but we can't really afford it. Claire currently is wearing, like, absolutely no armor at all, and will not for the foreseeable future. Whereas the other party members are reasonably geared out. So the town is now glitch. Oops. Fortunately, we pick up a free heal here, so Melody, having lost all her mana in the previous engagement, does not become a problem, because there was no, like, cutscene heal in between that, not until now. So now our goal is to teleport out the citizens of Greenridge, while everything is going wrong. They must do a fight in front of their domiciles. First port of call, the item shop, which we haven't actually been to. It's staffed by 2 kids who steal all of the items, like, off a truck or something. I honestly don't remember what the rationale is for that. Speed up Jody, attack the tear. Once again, the tear in space-time is kind of scary, because if it corrupts the party, problems occur. Yay! Crit!
That'll do it.
Let me get rid of the recursive looter scooter. The recursive loot scooter is not even close to as dangerous. Okay, 1 down. 2 turn, textbook. We tempt them to escape by asking if they would like to teleport, and they respond saying, yes, we've wanted to do that every day of our lives. So they teleport out. We give them a teleport stone to do it. We have, what, like 3 of them? Or is it 4? I don't remember. Let me head to the library. None of the enemies are in the way. That was luck. The enemies just kind of wander. They can very much block the library if they feel like it. Speed through here. That enemy... Ah, look at that. See, they were like facing the other way and everything. It looks so nice, but no. No pass. No pass. That looks nice. I'm taking it. I'm going to rifle in these couch cushions for 2,000 gold. Which is the most gold you can find in, like, an item so far. There are many horses. The horses attack twice, the Nurse Jelly heals, but with Allison and Jody's speed up, they can get rid of 1 horse before anyone has a chance to do anything. Provided they don't miss, at least. It's Allison, attack horse, frost thingy, attack. That should get this in second turn, assuming misses don't occur. Good so far. And frost. Nice. Jody hits level 10. We came to save the people in the magic store, but it turns out they're very good at magic. They don't really need our help, so we just kind of leave. We're just like, they seem to be doing fine. We should just go. And so we do. Okay. Last fight of Greenridge. It's a Core Guardian and a horse. The horse can be easily dealt with on the first turn. The Core Guardian has like a chance of doing Corruption Beam, which is the most dangerous thing it can do. Otherwise, it just kind of attacks. Generally speaking, this usually goes fine. Oh, miss. Miss! Claire counters. Good for her. 58 damage. I mean, it saved her from taking damage. Like, that's the benefit. She might not do much on her own counters, but it does do damage mitigation. And this is the last person we have to save, Beverly. This is the person Claire is crushing on. A plotline that will be unresolved in the speedrun. You're going to have to play the game for yourselves for that one.
Do it. Bring love to her.
Claire will never get to kiss GF in this run. It simply doesn't occur. Anyway, our annoying coworker, it turns out, is actually working for the enemy. Typical annoying coworkers. She has a battle axe. Her battle axe is funny because her battle axe swung sideways constitutes a physical attack for the purpose of countering, but swung overhead, no. counts as magical then. Battle axes can be parried, but only if they are swung horizontally. That kind of game. Laser beams count as physical. Rocks do not. I haven't really discussed the logic of what counts as a parryable attack so far, but laser beam is among them. I mean, Jody is also reunited with her girlfriend. Jody gets to kiss her girlfriend in this run. Claire does not. Claire is the odd one out here. I'm definitely bagging on Claire, and that's revenge for her horrible constitution being a constant liability during these runs. Okay, now we're in the Guardian's Vault. There are actually no required fights down here. We can pretty much just solve puzzles and go straight to the boss. Although enemies are going to try and get in the way. Unhelpful jelly. That's not helpful at all. They're right, it is unhelpful. There are traps on the floor here that actually will start an encounter. They're very hard to see. They're very slightly raised off the floor. I used to think those were invisible for the long... It took me a while to work out that you could see those. I thought people were just, like, memorizing a specific walking pattern to get through that room when, like, learning the run. Fighter's headband, that will go on Allison later. It will improve her damage. The headband is actually one of the few items that Claire will wear in the head slot, which is a problem, because it means auto-equip will try and put it on her, which is the one time I would like it to not do that. Claire can't win. Like, when she doesn't put on armor, I'm mad. When she does, I'm still mad for different reasons. Get this key down here. Please do not ask questions about why the town would have prisons in, like, the basement of their big tower. It is not important. Where they keep all their cool magic stuff, though, and we're going to steal all of it. That's our current goal, is we're going to get very nice gear while we're down here that will carry us through much of the rest of the game. So right now we could go straight to the boss and do the fight. Said boss would probably completely paste us, though. For we have no defense, we are sad. Or rather, Claire specifically has no defense, she is sad. But there is a solution to this problem. There's another room with traps. They're slightly more noticeable here just because they're sort of in rows rather than spread around sporadically. But this entire segment is technically optional, but we need to do it for the run because the gear it gets us is quite nice. There is a secret passage that is opened by punching 493 into this. I'll be honest with you, I completely forget how you're supposed to discover that solution organically. It's left my brain. I just know the number. And that gets us into a secret back compartment here, where they keep all of their cool magic stuff. Silver plate armor for Jody, she'll be very tanky. Pocket healer, which I'm not going to use. Celestial vestments, actually somewhat good mage gear for Claire. She will be able to take a punch and not fold instantly. Mainly for damage, though. The kind of thing she will actually wear. Get out of the way, bro. Get out of the way. I've got stuff to do. Flame rod. Sword. Giant text box that just says sword. That's the Moonblade. Allison will use that to do lots of damage. Could you move, please? Thank you. Hey, you heard me. Magical go to get rid of Fighter's headband, auto Allison, auto Jody, and then equip staff to Melody. That's the menu, I'm pretty sure. I'm just going to trust I did that right. All of our party members now have the right gear and the right spell books, probably, assuming I did that menu correctly. And now we're going to go fight the boss. It's Paula. Paula is vulnerable to fire. This is highly exploitable. This. Speed up Allison. Flameblade Allison. So she'll be doing sped up fire damage. We're going to set Paula on fire several times over. I think she's a polar bear. A polar bear's weak to fire? I don't know about that. You think it'd be the one thing they'd be like, Oh, there's the horizontal swing.
I feel like Pokemon
Some
rules would
counts.
say yes to it being weak to fire, but like real life rules would say no.
I guess that makes sense. In a video game kind of way, you know?
Yeah.
Nice. Alright, Paula halfway through this inflicts Cursed Cast on the entire party, which means magic will deal damage to the person who casts. I don't care. It can't kill you. Ew, the crits, they're huge. Allison counters, that's very nice. Claire casts Scorch and nearly kills herself in the process. Isn't everyone weak to fire? When you put it like that, I guess so. Ouch, Death's Door. Actually, do I have second aid? I do. Okay, that was solid. No one died. She has a move called Death's Door that can immediately put a party member on 1 health, which very much puts them in, like, the possibility of just getting sniped. But it can't kill them. You've always got time to sort of get a heal up. But I think she does have a move that, like, jumps the turn order, so it's a risk. It's a risk factor. Right, thus concludes Act 3. This is the longest, like, stretch of unbroken cutscenes in the game, so I get to chill out for a moment. The current plot occurrence is that sentient VHS tape is trying to summon something into the world using, like, a magic conduit that which is in the basement. And he done did it. I get to consult my notes real quick while this is playing out.
Always
Or
important.
I do have
for
notes
RPG.
for this
Yes.
game.
Yes, RPGs, you just need them. There's too much to remember.
I do not have this. I don't got this all memorized. Alright, turns out they were summoning a human. The non-furries are evil. That is the law of the land in this video game. But no, you see, she is the goddess of magic. She gave the world its magic, and she would quite like it back now. That is how this is progressing. She wants her magic back. She's mad at all of the furries. They stole her magic. She wants the magic. So she challenges them to a fight on a cool mountain. Come to my domain and fight me. You have 1 week, or I take all your magic. Another part is kind of like, well, now what? Well, they did not exactly sign up to fight a deity. But fight a deity they shall. And this is sort of like background lore about the gods of the universe. There's a whole theology system going on here. But the gods kicked... The other gods kicked her off the world. Because for god-type reasons. They didn't like that she gave them the magic in the first place. So the other gods kicked the goddess of magic out. And now she's back. And kind of annoyed about being kicked off. Melody is naturally having a bit of a crisis of confidence over this. I like the fact I have to summarize this at, like, record speed because I'm just holding down the button that skips all the text. Also, I haven't mentioned it, but mercifully, all you have to do to skip text in this game is just hold down X.
Love that.
I've ran RPG Maker games before where there is no auto text skip. You have to just mash for 3 hours. It's very unkind to your wrists.
Love that. Love that.
Yes, now Melody and Allison are fighting. They're kind of having like overlapping confidence of crises, the sort of different kinds of confidence crisis. Act 4. Act 4 is kind of the side quest act in the main game. You have pretty much like the full run of the map at this point. They can run around and do all sorts of stuff to get powered up before you go try and kill a god. I'm going to, however, pretty much beeline it. This is a speedrun. Did you forget where you were? Oh, also, Jody unlocks the ability to kiss her girlfriend at this point. It is now firmly available. She can summon her girlfriend in combat for a smooch. And this powers her up. It is a thing that we are probably not going to do. It has fringe use in some strategies because it builds her meter, her star power meter. So it's not useless, but it very probably won't come up in this run. Alright, we're in the astral plane. There's a critter in the well. We need 2 of those to trade it for an item later, a very powerful item. That's a whole, like, collecting side quest. Right, and now we're going to a part of the map we couldn't get to before because we didn't have the key. Now we have the key. We gained it in the cutscene. We're going to find Zinnia, who is like Faith's mentor. She's going to teach us some dope techniques for how to fight a god. You don't really get any skills for this. She just kind of like, I don't know, it's like a pep talk or something. Sometimes you just need a pep talk, I guess. I mean, now Jody is leading the party, for Melody is not really into it right now. This slight detour here will get me the second star fruit, the item that refills a party member's star power gauge to their fullest. That will come up somewhat soon now. Oh, that enemy is off in a completely different direction. He's having a great time. Envious. Oh, aggro. Cool, no encounter. We've made it through the cavern. There are no required encounters in the cavern, thankfully. This is Zinnia. She's a huge dragon. But then she is also a small dragon. They can do that. They don't got to explain nothing. Jody needs Chronomancy. Allison needs Spellblade. That's the menu for that. I gotta change around my spell books for this next section. They sit, they have tea, they discuss the situation. There is a somewhat revealed, like, that Zinnia kind of knows the goddess of magic, like, somehow, but it is unclear how that manifests for the time being. We will get there when we get there. Also, the goddess of magic's name is Verena. I forgot it comes up this early. It's not that meaningful, but, you know. What? Basically, Zinnia was like the first spellcaster in the land. Like, she was the first person whomst met with Verena. And they had a nice chat. The nicest of chats. So now we're going to do a little team building exercise. Everyone loves those.
Yes, famously successful every time.
So Zinnia's idea of a team building exercise is that she splits the party into 2. This is why I arranged the spell books differently. Well, we are currently dealing with a party of only Melody and Claire. Read the healer and the frailest person in the game. Fortunately, however, there are absolutely no required encounters when playing as these 2. It's the other 2 you have to worry about. Ah, 900 gold. Don't walk downwards. Thank you. So our goal is to collect berries. That is what Zinnia has tasked us to do. This prompts introspection on the part of people. as apparently doing puzzles in a snowy mountain is the best time for that kind of thing. But there is speed routing involved while we work through this. Even though Melody and Claire don't have, like, fights to do during their segment, they do have items to get. So one of the items I grabbed in the basement of the Guardian's Vault during the last act was the Flame Rod, which turns Claire's basic attack into a fire spell. A slightly weaker one, but a fire spell. That's relevant because it's now eligible to be boosted by speed up. It is the thing that will allow us to make use of, like, magic-boosted speed-ups. Because ordinarily, when you do a speed-up on a character, it only applies to their basic attack, i.e. not a spell. But if their basic attack is a spell, it works. So, using this principle, we are going to turn Claire into a machine gun. Which becomes important in the late game because magic damage scales fairly high, and also everything in the game is, like, stuff towards the end of the game, for whatever reason, is extremely weak to ice element, and, conveniently enough, there's a frost rod in that chest, turning your basic attack into a frost spell. Picnic set. The picnic set is an item that restores the entire party's HP and MP to full, but only outside of battle, not in it. So we would like to grab a couple of those for the end game. Or the final dungeon is not particularly forthcoming with the free healing spots. So grab a couple of those, and we will be fine. Nice, that first dude didn't see me. Normally what happens is the second guy sees you when you're grabbing the berries and he starts buzzing around you while the cutscene is playing, and then you start a fight immediately when you're walking out. Nope. No optional counters. Pretty good. That concludes Duo 1 part of this. During this segment, the two confide in each other because they are both trans, and therefore they have a certain kinship that way. I don't think I actually mentioned that Claire is trans so far. It didn't come up. But it comes up then, so I'm mentioning it now. Right, now we're playing as Allison and Jody. These are the problem too, because I don't have a healer with me. Oof. So their source of healing is entirely restricted to whatever items I've picked up so far. I think I have a mega potion or two. I picked one up on purpose. That's the thing, is that that's semi-random what item drops you have access to at this point. It's not like massively random, but you do gotta be aware of it. And this fight is very, very scary, actually. Flame Blade yourself and attack the Snowbat. These dudes can do a lot of damage really fast, and one of them can even freeze a party member, which will stop them from doing anything. That counter is really nice. Love to see that. Beat up Allison. She is boosted with Flame Blade. And we'll rip through the Snowman. The Snowman's the one we target first because it can freeze a party member, and that's really, really bad in this situation. That's looking good so far. Another counter. Looking juicy. That was really good. That fight is genuinely... I made that look very easy, but the counters were lucky. Allison stole an entire turn cycle off that. That fight can genuinely kill you, though, if it goes poorly enough. That's not a fight I made it look like that has any risk of dying whatsoever, but it totally does. Fortunately, that is the only mandatory encounter in the snow section. Now we just have to solve sliding ice puzzles. Mercifully, there are arrows on the ground because I have the game set to, like, easy, like, and high information mode, just for the sake of not having to memorize where I have to stand to do this. That's not there if you play the game on, like, the normal setting. But I have it turned on because I'm very, very lazy. I can memorize all of the build strategies. Can't be bothered to memorize the ice puzzles, though. Don't wanna. Another set of silver plate armor. That will end up going on Melody, so then she will be able to tank stuff real good. Allison will not wear silver plate armor. I've been bagging on Claire the whole run because she will not wear, like, pretty much anything that's protective. Allison also has restrictions on what she can wear, though. She Won't wear most kinds of heavy armor. Whereas I think Melody and Jody have, like, no particular restrictions. Don't quote me on that. I haven't, like, gone through the entire list. For the purposes of this run, though, they seem to wear pretty much anything. I am going to wait this cycle. Enemies that are moving around like this on the map, if you get into an encounter with them, you can't run from it. So you gotta be careful with those. Oh, F. Chat is saying F.
Mm-hmm.
Why is chat saying F? Are we good? Are we good? Are we good?
Yeah, we're all right. We're all right.
We're good?
Mm-hmm.
I missed the cycle because of chat saying F. I had to wait there. It's your fault, chat. I blame you. Anyway. We slide past that last puzzle. I find it very funny that this game and Omori both have the exact same joke with like a sliding puzzle that looks very elaborate, but you just slide straight up through it.
I do love that, as complex sliding puzzles are my nemesis.
I like how Omori and this game are both RPG Maker games that took like 7 years to develop that both have that same joke in a snowy mountain. There was a real mood going through the dev team there.
Yep.
Anyway, the conversation that just played out there reveals that Allison and Jody used to date and then stopped, but it also, more crucially for the run, refills their health. And now we're going to fight Paula 2 with only 2 party members, and she's very hopped up on magic. We will start by buffing Allison with Flameblade and also putting Barrier on her. Jody has access to Barrier, which is a skill that reduces incoming damage. It's important here because we don't really have much in the way of healing. That burn is nasty to get it applied early because it's going to burn through Allison's health pool. I might have to fence a potion on this. But for the most part, we just kind of have Allison do all the damage forever. Yeah, that's totally fence a potion. I am not putting up with that. That is a risk I do not want in my life. Attacking Jody is fine. Jody can generally take it. That should end it. Yep. You don't actually have to get Paula's HP all the way down because she has to have a little nap in the middle of the fight. It's because she's suffering from mana poisoning. She can't take it. She's dying from too much magic. It's okay. This is a nice game about nice people. So we drain the magic on her behalf. She complains at us anyway, though. You know, for letting her live and all that. They argue. She splits. We will not be fighting her again. I fenced the potion on that fight, which is fine. But that is another fight that is potentially kind of scary, because if you run your healing item stock down and you don't have anything to go with, Paula can just kind of kill you. And here the game briefly becomes a visual novel.
Text-based adventure.
Okay, now we're controlling Verena, the goddess of magic, as she struts about her base in the mountain. She would like to see the sights of the home that, you know, she once had. Her world, after all. Now she's going to take a look around. Like, oops, everyone's undead now. That's weird. Then she travels to the ruins of her magic school and, oops, trauma! Sneaks up on you. Yes, this is the reason she is mad at the furries. They burned her magic school down, and she is kind of not over it.
I wouldn't be either. I kind of get it.
Zinnia also gave us the Dragon Key and Dragon's Cure, which consolidates all of your status healing spells into one, but it also makes it more expensive, so it's like actually slightly a wash for this run. Mana management and all that. Okay, so now we have access to the Dragon's Key, which can get us into lots of doors that would give us powerful equipment, but we only really care about the one that's like plot necessary to progress the game. So once again, going to hit up the astral plane to travel the Amber Woods. We use this fast travel point a lot. It is the most important one. It's kind of very central, you know? So we're looking for the Bloom spell. It allows us to turn flowers into platforms. It is necessary to progress the game. Maybe the first issue was teaching fire spells first. If you didn't teach them fire spells, they wouldn't have burned your magic school down, it's true. But like, you gotta start with Fireball. That's like the first thing everyone learns.
That is the classic.
You ever been to wizard school before?
Yeah, haven't you been to wizard school before?
They teach the stuff on page 1. Anyway, Bloom is over here. In the woods, conveniently. You spend much of the game seeing these if you actually explore and you're like, how do you get past these? And now you can get past them. Also going to take a slight detour here to grab the second critter. Every 2 critters we collect as part of this little side quest grants us access to 1 more powerful item. But we only need 2. And the item we're going to get is a tiny hat for Claire. It's a hat that she can wear on top of her existing hat. This is the only condition under which she will wear normal headgear. It massively boosts her magic power and turns her into a machine gun. Since that is our current game plan. Allison still gets to be a physical bruiser, though. Oop. Get an ancient key. We will need that to activate a mechanism. Standing in the 1 tile space I would like to pass through, enemies do be like that.
I think that's happening more or less often this run, because I feel like we've had that happen quite a few times.
It's pretty normal, honestly.
Okay.
It's just like the game is just like that.
It do be that way, alright. Understood.
Lost gold chest. Yeah, the game doesn't really, like, encourage you to run past everything like this, per se, but it is definitely an option. Anyway, this is what we needed the key for. It activates this bridge. We can get into the sanctuary in the middle of the uncanny valley. Now I'm going to do a little bit of shopping. I'm going to buy the strongest melee weapon in the game that we have reasonable access to outside of like side quests or whatever. The Fairy Hammer. And we're going to activate the side quest where this guy wants us to find his animals for him. We've already found 2 of them, so this is where we exchange for a super tiny witch hat that will go on top of Claire's existing hat. Right, do the menu. Auto Allison, auto you, equip Frost Rod, auto Jody, auto Melody. I think that's right. No, not quite. Chronomancy has to go on. Yeah. Super. Now I'm solid. Going to Sanctuary is required to finish the run. You have to pass through it to get here, which is how you go forward. Holy person in chat whomst asked. Yes, we bought the Fairy Hammer, which is one of the strongest melee weapons in the game, but the caveat is that you can't equip a spellbook while you have it. Which is fine for Allison, because she's not really using her mana for anything anyway. She has no brain. Head completely empty, only smash.
No thoughts.
And we also bought her a nice vest so that she can, like, take a few punches. Okay, so this is Heavy Jelly. It's a jelly with a rocket launcher. The gimmick of this fight is that they can only take damage from moves that use the star power meter. This is why we picked up the star fruits all throughout the game. But we fill Allison's and Claire's meters like straight away, and now they're going to go to town on it. Nice dodge. Love to see that. Multi-Scorch. Jody in this fight is completely incapable of doing any damage at all, so she's just going to guard forever. She has no star power moves at this point that actually do any damage. So she's just kind of sitting here. However, guarding Jody does completely shrug off a rocket launcher hit. 33 damage is nothing.
Wonder if the rockets are also made of jelly.
Claire counters does no damage, but that's good because the counter builds meter. Claire also builds meter from attacking, so getting a counter actually gives you extra meter to play with. Another reason why the counter thing is extremely good. Yep, very nice. Everyone levels up. Melody learns Revive, so now I have access to something that will let me revive down to party members. Before this point, you kind of can't, so just don't let anyone die. And Allison also learned Lightning Kicks off that, which is an all-hitting move. It is the only thing Allison is going to use mana for. But it is an innate skill, so she doesn't need like a spell book for it. Onward to Mount Sappho. That one might be a bit on the nose, but then the whole thing is called the Sapphire Islands, I guess. Is that really a bridge too far? I don't know. For some reason, that's the one that jumps out to me the most, though. But for some reason, the penny for me playing this did not drop until that part. I was like, wait a minute! This is gay! I can't believe it.
How dare they in the Super Lesbian Animal RPG game?
That's not what I signed up for! What? Dudes in minecarts. Dudes in minecart. We will have to avoid the minecarts. Because if we get into a fight with them, you can't run away from it. And our goal is to find 2 keys. Solve a quick puzzle here. It makes a bridge for us. Right, so thus begins Act 1 of Claire being a machine gun, because we're going to speed up Claire. You're going to do lightning legs, and you're going to just attack the lava. So Claire, now sped up, gets 2 casts of frost, and a lot of enemies in the late game are weak to frost. But this works out very well for our plan of turning people into a machine gun. If they could stop hitting Claire, they really all went for Claire. Absolutely all of them. They really wanted a piece.
Must be the hat.
People play this game are absolutely convinced that like Claire draws more aggro than other enemies by virtue of just her personality, I guess. It's not true though, it just feels like it. It really feels like they go for her more often. They don't though. I promise you they don't. You just feel it more. We've checked. It's been like a thing people have looked at.
There is data, there is science.
Yeah, the data was done mainly for the purpose of finding out what attacks counted as physical, for the purpose of countering. It's really, really random. Again, laser beams count as physical, rocks don't. Anyway, outside of everything trying to kill Claire, that encounter went perfectly fine. Okay, so we've made it to the final base. But alas, sentient VHS tape spirits everyone away to various rooms. So now we will be playing as Allison on her own for a bit. And again, Allison on her own has no access to healing outside of items. This segment is medium scary as a consequence. Generally fine, because I gave her the mithril vest, which gives her a lot of defense. Color wheel swaps my palette. I have no idea. Like, all of the color palette swaps are like references to something. I have no idea what this one is. Someone in chat probably knows.
Oh yeah. I'll let you know if somebody probably nails it.
Yo, nice counter. Ooh, a potion drop. Convenient. Just what I need right now. Okay, so I'm hoping for a counter here. You can't counter Mana Drain. That is indeed a spell. It did it twice. Never mind that then. No counters for you. In his bunny form from OKKO, says the chat. I have never seen OKKO, so I'm going to have to take your word for it on that one.
Yep, I cannot confirm that either, but sounds right.
Sounds right.
Seems like there's some consensus.
I
too,
believe you.
Yep.
Okay, this is the potentially scary one. There's actually 3 enemies in this fight, but one of them's just invisible. It's nothingness. We're hoping for counters here. Like that. Okay, 2 down. Counter... Nope. Ah! Dodge. Sad. Okay, Allison got a bit more beat up than I would have. No, she leveled up. It's fine. I forgot. She levels up off that fight. She gets to full anyway. Fine. There's no problem. Okay. We've reunited with Melody. We have our healer back. The girls are having a moment. They are talking about their feelings and what have you. I do like this game's writing, but it always makes me feel a bit stupid to summarize scenes like this in a speedrun.
Yeah.
It's cute. It's nice. I like this sort of thing. But I'm here to go fast. I'm not here to watch people talk about their feelings.
Feelings are slow.
Get with the program. Right. Moving on. So our goal is to reunite the party, naturally, so far. This dude did not block my way. Excellent. Love that for me. This dude is blocking my way. Do not love that for me. Okay. Working around it. So the first party member we're going to get is Jody. Not this time, not out of specific dislike of Claire, but because you just have to do it in that order. Oh. Impresses. So this fight blocking Jody's cell is a fight against the Fun Police. The Fun Police has an ability that is completely unique to them called No Fun. When No Fun is in play, you cannot use specials. No, fun is forbidden. No fun is indeed allowed. Rubbish, that. Ooh, the miss is brutal. No, fun is forbidden. Okay, will Scorch Word still happen? Yeah, it doesn't count as a special, I guess. Okay, learned something today. Everyone being no fun allowed on both party members at once is, and this is true, cringe, because I can't heal. Nice counter. Can I still use Spellblade? Yes. Oh, good counter. Good, because Melody being no fun means she can't heal. So that fight can also be kind of scary. Because Melody getting stuck with no fun right at the start, followed by Cosmic Warrior pounding on Arson's head, can absolutely kill her. If it sounds like there's a lot of like risk points in this run, it's actually because, you know, there are. It's just mostly going pretty well. I made 29 saves in preparation for this run. I want you guys to know this. I made 29 saves in for all sorts of contingencies of things not going properly, and I haven't needed to use any of them so far.
29 backup saves. You biked here at full speed. Just the dedication.
I'm very prepared.
I have to admire it.
I'm going to talk to the chest first. If you talk to the chest first to get it, Claire complains at you for doing so. It is slower to do that, but I think it's very funny. The party goes, maybe if you glowed colors like that, we'd be more inclined to notice you first. Anyway, the gang is all back together. Knock on wood. Oh yeah, we've got the scariest part of the run coming up, the scariest boss. If that goes wrong, I will not even be vaguely shocked. I'm just gonna blink twice and load a save and be like, well, do it again. Get my last picnic set here. What is this guy doing? Okay, this fight. Beat up Allison, attack the horsey. Boss rod on that. So the gimmick of this fight is that the third enemy in the set here is immune to all physical attacks. They are only vulnerable to magic, while the other two, the Cosmic Warrior in the middle, is pretty much only vulnerable to physical. So you need everyone on deck for this. He really missed. That is very sad. Allison is dying. The miss is kind of bad, but I think I'm salvaging the situation. That counter really helps. Okay, so now the two spellcasters basically can't do anything to this guy. His magic defense is sky high. They'll do 1 damage. So we're just going to have them guard, and we're going to have Melody heal to get everyone back into shape. And I guess, you know, herself back into shape, because that seems to be the more salient issue right now. Dive bomb. Good. No one died. That was a bit of a mess out of the gate, but no one died, so I don't really care. Get a wizard hat. A full-size wizard hat. Melody gets to have that. Claire can't wear a full-size wizard hat because she already has one. I'm going to have to muscle this guy out of the way. Now, once again, in the one-tile situation. One-tile moment. Okay, and that solves this room. And now we enter the 4 teleport room. This is a kind of like semi-boss rush. His look is back. Gumball. But at this point, everyone is significantly stronger. We should be able to 2-turn this, given ideal circumstances. Yep. That Frost did a lot of damage. Again, everything is just weak to Frost at this stage. Even Jody can do decent damage with the Moonblade.
I like
Everyone
that. I feel like fire damage gets a lot of representation. Not enough representation for frost damage, in my opinion. So it's cool to see
This
that.
RPG restores the balance.
Yes.
Okay, I have to lean into my screen like I'm doing brain surgery for this. There are traps again on the floor that trigger an unavoidable encounter if you step on them, and they look like nothing, and the entire room is glowing, and I hate it. Stop. My eyes. Okay, it's done. Play along at home and see if you could see what part of that constituted a trap. It takes some doing to get used to. Okay, Dust Bunny EX. Stronger Dust Bunny. Notably off the Gumball fight last time, Jody learned her most useful ability, Crack in the Armor, which is it takes 2 stocks of star power to use, but it lowers the enemy's defense and magic defense by like a lot. It's very useful. So Jody now has a star power move that can do damage, and not only can it do damage, it can facilitate lots of damage. Yeah, I got an elixir. Okay. Equip Melody with Magical Girl, or everything is bad. Picnic set, everyone back up to full, and now I'm going to do the scariest fight in the game. We're about to fight Jarvis. He is the hardest fight in the game. You win by the grace of the game not killing you, is how this one works.
These are always the most fun runs.
It's one of those. This is very, very, very luck reliant.
Will we have to utilize one of those saves? We'll see.
You can do a whole bunch of stuff that's very, very scary. So we'll open the same way I always do. Kiss Allison, do Frost, and then speed up Allison, so who do all the damage. Corruption, that's bad. That's one of the openers that sucks. I mean, Jody getting hit's okay, though. But it does kind of do a number on my damage. Cure that. You're really going to do it twice? We're really going to do me like that? You're going to bring me out here in the prime of my life for this? So yeah, that's Corruption Beam is bad because it obviously blocks the enemy turn, and Corruption Beam takes priority in the turn order, which is its own kind of annoying. Fortunately, Melody is immune, so her getting hit by Corruption Beam is fine. Now there are Glitch members of the party in play. I don't know what Glitch Jody's going to do. I'm a bit worried about this, actually. Yep, Chained Allison. That kind of sucks. Things are occurring. Chained and corrupted. Okay, I give up on Allison. She doesn't get to play the game.
She's done.
Forget this. No, I am actually going to cure that. I have a spare turn with which to do so. Oof, cracking the armor on Claire. That's kind of scary. That does a lot of damage. I put barrier on her mostly just to build meter for Jody. But that's not going to stop her from getting killed if it hits the wrong person. Okay. Allison is back in play. And speed her up again. Nope. Claire is corrupted. Jumps the turn order. She doesn't get to do nothing. You thought you got to play the game? You fool. You idiot. You buffoon. Okay, Blast Beat does a lot of damage, but at least it hit the only person who can take it. Attack. Actually, what do I do here? I think I want to do it like this. Yeah. Cracking it. Jody is risking death with this, but I'm going to have to just live with that. Don't miss. That is like the worst timing for that. Ah, Betrayal. Betrayal is a move where the party attacks each other. This is the one you gotta worry about, because everyone dies. Allison does a high kick. I bet she does. This is what I bought the tier for. It's absolutely horrendous.
Oh, wow. Well, we kind of we preempted it. We knew it was going to be it could be a little rough, right?
Oh, extremely. I'm getting through it. I'm muddling through the situation, but boy, is this is bad. And Jody's frozen. This is all kinds of problems right now. Can Jody tank it? Can Allison tank this? Just about? Question mark? This is
okay.
This is terrifying. I am not having a good time. Stop, please. He has normal moves, I promise.
Those aren't as interesting for us to see, of course.
This is such a slobber knocker. Holy moly. Why did I do that on Jody? That should have been Claire. Claire just punched herself. What are you doing, mate? What are you doing?
Stop hitting yourself.
I'm getting a migraine. Please hit the right... Thank you. God, I got through it. No one... I won the fight. That was obviously incredibly slow, but I didn't die.
Magically. I was just waiting for it. I was waiting for it.
That's about as bad as that can go without getting a game over, frankly. I styled it out quite well, but God, there was no breaks on that. Like, he does not always just corrupt you over and over again. Like, no turns for you. You can't play the game. Ooh, betrayal. Jody's dead. It's like it's not like that. It's sometimes he just does single target moves over and over again, and nothing interesting happens. And you just rip through his actually pretty small health pool. Anyway, next boss. This boss fight is distinctly less scary, but like also prone to taking longer based on luck. Our opener is pretty much the same, though. We kiss Allison, we speed her up. This bunny does 6,000 DPS. The main thing that Verena doesn't have that Jarvis does is the ability to skip the turn order with Corruption Beam. She can't do that move. Oop. Now we speed up Claire. Claire gets useful play in this part of the run because this boss will actually buff the entire party's magic stat about halfway through the fight, which Claire is naturally poised to take very good advantage of. I'm trying to get Jody's barrier on. There we go. Jody now has 2 meter. She can do crack in the armor. We want that online as fast as possible. The defense down is extremely useful. The point where I'm actually going to forego speeding up Allison again to get it up. The Three of Pentacles. Oh, there's Freeze. Yep, so this is mana boost. Everyone's magic power is boosted. Yours, the enemies, everyone's. I would like to be reapplying my speed ups right about now, but Jody got frozen. That's bad luck. Not good luck, crucially. There's been better luck. Speed up Claire, because under the effects of mana boost, she is doing a lot of damage all the time. Four of Swords hits absolutely everyone, which is kind of miserable. And it also takes a really long time to resolve. The defense down has expired. I'm going to reapply it. $800 crit. Ah, blink. Where you going? I'm going to use this turn to get speed up applied on Allison. Blink is a move where Verena just leaves for a bit. She's gone. You can't hit her. And then she comes back and does magic. It's basically just delays the fight by a turn, which, you know, thanks. And Magic Missile did 1,300. That's the power of the magic boost. Okay. That was a lot less scary. Compared to the previous fight, that was pretty chill.
Yes, that did not have my heart as racing as much as the last one.
It wasn't an amazing fight, but it was fine. It was fine. I've had worse. That fight can pose an issue if, like, the dice land wrong. She has access to freeze, which did happen, and if it freezes the wrong person, it can really, like, screw stuff up. So it's not no risk. So getting through that relatively painlessly after that last one, good for my heart. Yes, and the plot right now is that it turns out Verena was doing all of this because she thought her wife was dead. Killed by the furries. Turns out she's not. Her wife is the dragon. And she's, because Melody, like, offhand mentions, oh yeah, what happened between you two? We, like, spoke to her, but she wouldn't tell us. And she's like, what do you mean you spoke to her? She was under the impression that she was dead. Turns out all of this is because she missed her wife. We've all been there.
It do be that way.
Proceed. The game, in fact, gives you a prompt to, like, are you sure you want to go fight, like, the final boss? It even gives you, like, a vending machine in the void. Seems very polite like that. Biblically accurate VHS tape is currently taking place.
Was that Rainbow Comic Sans font that I saw for a second?
I think so, yes.
Yes. Yes.
And so in order to combat biblically accurate VHS tape, we do the Dark Ritual one more time to take on way, way too much magic power. A threat to one's life, but now the lesbians will truly be super. They were not super before this moment. It's true, I know it's hard to accept, but these are the facts. Only now do they truly become super. Okay, so now Melody and Allison are hopped up on tons of magic and have tons of health and mana and stuff. Claire and Jody are just kind of hanging out. Their goal is to buff the other two.
Good vibes only from them.
Cleansing Light, attack boost Allison, have Jody do barrier because that builds her meter. We kind of want Jody to get hit so she can get cracking the armor up. Not like that, though. Wrong kind of hit. Stop Claire from getting attack boost up, which is obnoxious. Do that. Paladin's Cure will cure the party of ailments for free. Boy, do I wish I had that in the main game. Everyone takes damage. Jody has enough for cracking the armor. Good for her. Cleansing Light. Now I'm going to start doing directional attacks. I really hope I'm able to get... Defense down came out. So that's nice. That will... And attack boost came out. Okay, Claire got her buffs off. Claire can die now. Shoo, go away. Your time is up. You did it.
Your watch is ended.
We want them to die at this point because... pick a move and stick to it. We want them to die at this point because at this point their turns would take more time to resolve than it is actually worth. Which is very callous, but speedruns. Miss Allison, Heaven Kick. The directional moves at this point are important because of where the eye is moving the eye on the star. If you attack the right part of the body, you do about 3,000 damage, all other things being equal. Fence down expired. Heaven Kick again. Fortunately, both Melody and Allison are like immune to corruption at this stage, so if the corruption wave comes out, it's really only Claire and Jody you have to worry about, and they're both dead. I don't even care. Who are those two again? He's not even really trying to hit me. One more good hit should do it. Yep, there we go. That's the final boss down. The buffs could have come up with more convenient time, but that was basically fine. Claire got what she needed to do done and then quietly left, which is ideal circumstances. We got about a minute left at the end of the run, so I'm just saying, if you've enjoyed this run so far, I mean, I've basically spoiled the entire game for you, but if you've enjoyed this run so far and want to try the game for yourself, there's a whole bunch of side quests I don't do in the speedrun. It's currently 20% off on Steam, I think.
Yes, chat was highlighting that earlier. Thank you.
I'm going to highlight it as well. It's a good video game. I kind of feel like chat's already played the game, though. It's one of those games where every time I stream it, I feel like everyone watching is like significantly more informed about the game's development than I am. I just like RPGs.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at too. With most of the games I play, to be honest. Everyone already played them, they know more about it than I do. You know, what are you gonna do?
Anyway, in the aftermath of battle, their bodies took on too much mana, but the goddess of magic saved them, because actually she was like, you know what, you guys are cool, I've changed my mind about this, because it turns out my wife's not dead, so it's alright. Everyone's cool again. They hashed it out with hammers and stuff. And we launched Javis into the sun. Whee! And now pretty much our only objective is go home and go to bed, which mood, it's like 2 a.m. for me right now. That is in fact what I will be doing as soon as this is over. I'd like to shout out the Super Lesbian Animal RPG speedrunning community, specifically Kyrol, because I have basically been stealing all of their good ideas for this route the entire time. This route has been more or less us like bouncing ideas off of each other. Mutual plagiarism. I think we call that collaboration, less rudely.
Yeah, that's a better name for it.
I prefer mutually ripping each other off. Yeah, this is honestly a game I expected to run like maybe a couple of times once and be like, hey, cute game, and then never do it again, but then I actually ran it for like 2 months and have been continually reworking the route, so I've put more effort into this than I thought I would. Been a good time though. I've enjoyed really like figuring out the possibilities of the battle system. It's got fun combat. It's a cute game that I enjoy running. Time will be when the logo appears in the sky, which is an odd point for timing to end, but it's, I don't know, I like the feel of it. I like unconventional timing ends. So, time. That's time.
Beautiful and well done. Pretty fast, I feel like.
What was the time?
Give it a second for it to catch up. It looks like a 154.33.
Adequate. I went underestimate at least.
Yes, which is that's always good. That's always a good.
The estimate was generous because RPG. I kept mentioning there were like lots of pain points where you can just die. Didn't happen though. The worst case scenario was accounted for, and I went severely under that.
Very well done. Yeah, absolutely. Well, Punchy, do you have it? I know you already shouted out the Super Lesbian Animal RPG speedrun community. Anything else you'd like to plug, shout out before we wrap up here?
I'm gonna plug myself. If you enjoyed the run, follow my Twitch channel. If you like Super Lesbian Animal RPGs, stop by my channel. I'm actually usually a horror speedrunner, but I frequently like to confuse my viewing base by doing stuff like this. It's for my sake more than anything. It's like a sort of like pruning exercise.
Yes, please follow Punchy, and I'll echo that. Follow Punchy and follow all the runners we featured tonight as well. Sand Shark, Silver Moonlight, and Demonic Robots all put on excellent showcases. Absolutely. Well, thank you so much, Punchy. I appreciate it. I'm going to let you get to sleep by signing off here pretty quickly.